Hey, Facebook family and YouTube family. This is Authentic Deb, and it is Tuesday, the 26th. And I was talking to a friend the other day and realized that she said something to me, my friend Cindy. She said that she didn't see me showing up lately. And at first, when she said that, I thought she meant like I wasn't showing up authentically. So I was freaked out because I was like, oh my gosh, if I'm not showing up authentically, then I have an issue. And authentic Deb showing up authentically doesn't work that way. Hey, whoever's you have to post something if you're logging in because I can't see you are. What's up, Diane? So I told you this earlier, Diane. So, anyways, my friend Cindy said, no, you're not. You're so busy working on your website, working on your logos, and working all this other stuff that you're actually not showing up online. And that's what you're supposed to be doing, right? So I'm here. I challenged myself that I would show up for at least 14 days in a row. I used to do those drive-by things a couple of years ago when I was online all the time, but then a lot of people got frustrated that I was doing it while I was driving, even though I felt I was totally safe. So I kind of just let it go, but I had a lot of good things to say back then. So I want to talk today about remembering who you are. And if any of you have ever been through a season where you may have found you've lost yourself, or maybe you went off course a little bit about what it is you are wanting to do, or maybe you were beating yourself up over a road you took that you wish you hadn't have taken. That's kind of where I found myself lately over the last about 10 months, not so much beating myself up, but questioning the road that I was on and feeling a little unsure about the road I was on, and kind of almost like how did you get there? Hold on, that's going to bug me. How did you get there type of road, right? Has anybody ever done that? Like, how did I get here? And it's not that here is a bad thing. It's just like you really weren't planning to get there. So how did I get there? And I was having this thought lately over the last several months. And even though I'm in a really good place, I was kind of like feeling shy, almost like when I would talk to others, like sheepishly, I think is the word I'm looking about. Yeah, I've kind of been there, but I'm here now and I'm okay. And I realized that I was like somehow, I don't know, disciplining myself for doing nothing wrong, really. It's almost like disciplining yourself for following what you felt was right. And now you've decided that maybe that's not the right thing for you. And so, does that make sense? Diane, does that make sense? Like I was disciplining myself uh, in some weird way. And I was sitting last Friday morning, I was up at the country house and I picked up my Bible and I was reading, and I felt like I was in Galatians 5, and I felt like it really spoke to me. Uh, and in the middle of all that, I really heard the Lord say, I had this handout of like 12 pages with me of something that I had written back in 2018. What's up, my brother? 2018, where I would kind of just hear from the Lord at the start of the year and just write. And I had this whole little like God manifesto, and I found it the other day, and so I took it to the country house with me, and it was, what I wrote back then was relevant for 2018, but oh my gosh, it's so relevant to where I am right now today. And that's what I love about God. God knows like the end from the beginning and everything in between and every dimension you want to talk about. And I sat there on my couch and I heard the Lord say to me, he said, now go read that and remember who you are. And so that's what I'm talking about for a moment. Remember who you are. So I was like, okay. So I go and I read this 12 pages that I wrote, spontaneously. And that's kind of how I write, pretty spontaneously, a prophetic scribe, if you will. And I'm reading it and I'm like, wow, this is good stuff. This is good stuff. And realizing that is God speaking to me, and me having this discourse back and forth on the paper. I don't know if you guys ever just journal and write like back and forth what you're hearing, but when I have conversations with God, whether they're verbal or on paper, it's like this back and forth exchange, like you're talking to a friend. And I read that and it just so like left me with so much joy because it was like, yeah, that that is who I am. These things that I've written on paper, these dreams and these declarations of what I was created for, and how I'm used in the earth, and what my heart is for other people, and what my heart is for God, and all of these different aspects of the intensity of relationship, and the waning of how relationships can, they're not always like this, and they're not always like this or like this, right? There's an ebb and a flow. That's the word I was looking for. If you know what I mean, Luke, an ebb and a flow. And I realized that that was just what I needed to hear. Just remember who you are. How many people, it looks like there's a couple watching right now, 3 or 4, who needs to remember who you are? How can I help you in the next 5 or 10 minutes, encourage you to to remember who you are? Who needs to know? I see, Luke, you're watching from I think YouTube, uh, of who you are. Who needs to know who they are? If you need a reminder while you're watching this right now, we're on the replay of who you are. Just give me a comment and just say, who am I? And I'm going to tell you who you are. So who's brave to just say, who am I? And I'm gonna tell you who you are. No, I'm not gonna tell you off, Diane, because that wouldn't be nice. I only tell you off in private. You got to have those friends that you can be crazy with in private. But it was just so powerful. I found, you guys, that here's the one thing that I saw in the document that I wrote to myself. Several times through the document, it said, I said to God, I said, you never change your mind about me. And then I saw it again a couple of pages later. All right, Luke, I'll tell you, you never change your mind about me. And Luke, that's the first thing that I would say, is that God never changes his mind about you. He didn't. You've heard this before. We all have. God doesn't make junk. There's like literally no such thing. Do you know, even things that go into the trash or anything, everything is matter, never goes away, right? Yeah, we're a soul, we're a spirit in this body, flesh and blood, but matter never goes away. And Luke, your I want to say God's intent for you never goes away, because he says, I've called you a son, and I've called you creative, and I've called you to have a good heart, and I've called you to walk a road that a lot of people don't understand. But you are truly, what I see is that picture of the footsteps in the sand. You guys know that, like, thing of the picture of like Jesus in the footsteps, and you felt like you were alone. The saying goes, that's where God was carrying you. And a lot of times I go, oh, that's nice and that's nice, but what about this? But what if it's true, Luke? What if it's true that at those times, all of those times, God was carrying you? And what I see is, I see Jesus's footprints, and then I see some like scraping. Let me know if that makes sense to you, like almost like you're dragging your feet. Hey, what's up, Cindy? Almost like you're dragging your feet. And like Jesus wasn't just carrying you. There's times where I feel like you were scrambling and squirming around like a kid. If you guys have ever seen a kid at a store that's just like going through the terrible twos. And Luke, that's kind of what I see. Like Jesus there's been times he's been dragging you, and your feet are dragging. Not that you don't want to be held, but just because we're human and we can be squirrely. Let me know if that makes sense. We can just be squirrely. We can kind of pitch a fit, right? There's times where we pitch a fit, even when God is trying to carry us. And it's not that Jesus just can't pick you up, Luke, and throw you over his shoulder and walk. But we have such a good and gentle God. What's up, Cindy? We have such a good and gentle God that he's going to let us pitch our fit. Cindy, the question is remembering who you are. And so the invitation for other people is, if you want to know who you are, and just comment, who am I? So Luke, I hope that makes sense to you and blesses you. I know that I love you intensely, my brother. And we're going to make some more music together by faith. And who cares if you're across the pond. But you are loved. You are greatly loved. And at the times where you fight the most, Jesus still has his hand on you. And that's why I see that picture of the sand and you dragging your feet. He could pick you up and sling you right over his shoulders, because God, if God is all powerful, he can do that. But there's times where you're just allowed to have your moment. So I say, have your moment, but know that you're already held. I hope that that blesses you. Good. All right, Cindy, who are you? You are a marvelous. What's up, Lisa Cage? You are a marvelous. I see this marvelous beacon of light. It was almost like a genie in the bottle. Almost like a genie in the bottle, but it wasn't a bottle. It was just this thing of light, right? And I just saw light everywhere. What's up, Rose? This light everywhere, this light everywhere, and just this beaming light. And I feel like the Lord just wants you to receive the light of God that is for you, and know that this is your true, what it's weird. It's a weird picture. I wish I could draw. It's your true, it's your true point of how you take in, Cindy. So it's like, you know that we have poop and crap all over, right? We know that, like, there's always stuff, right? Lisa and Rose, the world wants to come in, and it's like, if I'm here and I'm the receiver, right? And there's all this stuff coming down from all different directions. Like, if you guys could just imagine a bunch of people standing around me right now go like that, right? Can you imagine that? Like that. There's always somebody who has an opinion. There's a newspaper that has an opinion. There's a political party that has an opinion. I don't care if you're gay, straight, upside down, old, whatever. If you're still breathing, somebody has an opinion, right? And it's not always the best opinion that you want. And so, Cindy, what I see, in fact, your Facebook profile picture here, where you're just sitting in meditation looking over the water, it's like, that's such a perfect picture, because that's serenity, what I see in that picture. And so when you said, who am I, all I saw was light. But it was like, yes, light coming out of you, but more like God wants you to remember that this is your input, that the light of God is shining down on you, and the input is for you. Do you know what I mean? The input is from God into you, and you, an encouragement for you today to filter everything out through that, if that makes sense. Let me know if that makes sense. Lisa, you're next. Who are you? And then Lisa, you said, how did they go? I don't know what that meant. How did they go? But Lisa, you are next. And what I see for you is like a wheel. Like a wheel, like a mechanical wheel, like an old-fashioned clock that has all sorts of different mechanisms going, just circling and going round and round and round. Now, I know a ton about you, of course. I'm glad, Cindy. I know a ton about you, Lisa, because you're my bestie in the natural, but you have a mind that's always, always going. And the Lord, what I hear is that the Lord loves to tinker with you. How do you like that one, Lisa? I feel like the Lord loves to tinker with you. Like he's like in there, like, because he's the master, right? And he made you, and there's all these wheels and there's all these things going. And I know in the natural, you are so multifaceted, right? And you created to do so many things. But what I see is, and I know that you know this, that just remember, God loves to tinker with you. He loves to go in there right when you think, okay, I'm Lisa, I'm a wedding officiant. I'm Lisa, I'm a carpenter. I'm Lisa, I'm a wife, I'm a daughter, I'm a mother, I'm a friend, I'm bizarre, all these different things, all these awesome things that I know that you do. Yet I see God in there like, well, I'm not done, daughter. Here, I'm going to go in here, and I see God like a master clocksman, like this old dude. I don't normally see God like an old dude, but he's like, kind of got a grin on his face. He's kind of, let me add another spoke, let me add another wheel. And it's almost like, just be ready to be excited and delighted with, sometimes we say, I can't take one more thing on my plate, but God has made you like you can handle pretty much everything. But what I see is a good thing. Like, I don't know if it's another hobby or another thing, but I just see that he's always in there tinkering and oiling and making things right. So let me know if that blesses you. If not, take the best, spit out the rest, right? Rose, who am I? What's up, Rose? There's your pretty picture. It's good to see your face. Who is Rose? I see a cannon, like, the old time cannon, like in a Civil War, and the bomb goes out, and I that's hysterical. I see a cannon, Rose, and I see that you are like, I like to use the phrase, and I've used it before, a force to be reckoned with, but because it's an old time, like Civil War cannon, a lot of people are going to look at it and think like, it doesn't fire anymore, or it's obsolete. It's in a history museum somewhere. But what I see is that cannon actually is alive, and it's loaded, and it can fire. And so I believe that what you need to know is that your purpose and everything that you have to speak forth things that bring change is in you, and all you have to do is light the flame. All you have to do is open your mouth. See, with that cannon, all you'd have to do is really go light it, and it's going to go down that old-fashioned little fuse, right? And the cannonball is going to come out. And what happens when the cannonball comes out? It affects something, right? It's going to land somewhere, and right, Rose? It's going to land somewhere. And I'm not talking about death and destruction. I'm talking about when the word out of Rose's mouth comes out of your mouth, that it's going to affect change in your own life, affect change in your relationships, and affect change in the atmosphere. So I feel like the Lord is saying, Rose, who you are is a powerful mouthpiece that you have allowed circumstance to keep you in a museum. And so therefore you didn't think, or you haven't exploded in the way God has given you a green light to. And so I say, go ahead and light the flame, light the fire again. There's an old worship song by Vineyard, Hey, What's Up, Lily, that says, hey, light the fire again. So wherever the fire has gone cold, light it again, and be free to speak and to move, and know that when you speak, your words have power, because the word says his word never returns void, and you're made in his image. So speak the word and expect things to happen. I hope that blesses you. Lisa, I still don't know what you mean by how did it go. And Lisa says, yep, I will fill you in on my current full plate. Well, good. Let me know, and let me know if I'm doing that wedding. Letty, oh, good, Rose. I'm glad that ministered to you. Miss Lily, who am I? Who is Lily? Lily has like my favorite smile of all of Facebook. Can I have your smile? See, look at this. Okay, Authentic Deb, I got these dentures, and they were all perfect. And then the denture stopped fitting. This is a sidebar. So I took them to the dentist a couple months ago when the pandemic first started, and she like shaved them down so they would fit. They don't know why all of a sudden they wouldn't go in my mouth. But when she did it, check it out. Now I look like a vampire. Authentic Deb the vampire. So anyways, and so every time I smile now, talk about how we focus on the negative, all I can see are these two teeth. But when I look at Lily, she's got like these perfect straight teeth. But that's not what God was saying about who you are. So who is Lily? Lily is a light that shines brighter than she knows, number one. And I see a picture of, oh, I had something weird on my keyboard, sorry. Squirrel. I see a picture of like a yellow daisy or some type of a yellow flower, Lily. And thank you. I see this picture of a yellow flower and like fields and fields of flowers. And I don't know if it's a daisy or if you like daisies, but the connotation is that the flower is super resilient and it's always there. It's like you can always turn around and find something. And I feel like God wants you to know that everywhere that you turn, what you are is something of beauty, and that it's like you're a super reliable friend. That's what I'm getting the impression of. It's like you're super reliable, and it's like some flowers are hard to find, right? But we can kind of always find a daisy. You know what I mean? It's like, it's not that they're not pretty, but you can find them. And you know what, Lily? That's a good thing. When people go, oh, I need a smile, like that beautiful smile, or I need something. You know who I can go to? I can go to Lily. I can email Lily. I can call Lily. Lily might not even be having a great day, but she might take me to go get ice cream or do something or make me coffee or whatever. It's like you're so reliable, like certain flowers that are in abundance, and those flowers shine, and there's I see fields and fields and fields of them, and they bring joy to the people that they see, right? They bring joy to the people that they see. And so that's what I see for you. That's who you are, somebody who brings joy. Your countenance lights up. Your countenance makes other people at peace. It gives them that sweet sense of peace and everything for what they need. And so that's what I see. So I hope that ministered to you guys, but that's just what I wanted to share. Remember who you are. God is showing me to remember who I am. Fang teeth or no fang teeth, right? Pandemic hair or no pandemic hair. And God is showing me who I am and reminding me of who I am. And more than that, whatever journey you have been on, what other bumps and whatever's on the way, because life wasn't supposed to be like all smooth, like, you know, a 5-lane highway. We just go 100 miles an hour, right? There's stops. There's all sorts of stuff. But anyways, that's what I wanted to say for today. This is day 1 of my 14-day challenge to myself. But really, that's what it is. If you haven't already subscribed to me over on YouTube, go find me on YouTube and help me get my subscriptions up as I just start going live with what I am. And if you have any questions or need anything, feel free to reach out to me. So if anybody doesn't have any other questions, I'll wait a second. Or if you want to comment on my fang teeth, then you know, you can comment on that. Lisa, send me a Facebook and let me know what's going on. I'm in front of the computer here for the next couple hours. Rose, be blessed. Cindy, I'm so glad. My friend Cindy is the one who really challenged me to do this. So I hope you guys have a fabulous rest of the day, and I will be on again tomorrow. What's up, Chris? Late to the party, Chris Ryan. Lily, didn't you like go tell her that, you know, I was online and she needed to stop everything she was doing? I'm just kidding. Tomorrow, at some point tomorrow, as I feel led, I will be online. I have to work a regular schedule tomorrow, 8:30 to 5. So I'm thinking it's probably going to be in the morning or after 5 tomorrow. So it probably won't be in the middle of the day because I'll be working, but you never know. I could change my mind. So I love you guys. I will talk to you soon. I say au revoir, Avidaze, until tomorrow. And this is Authentic Deb. And remember to be you, because being you is enough.